They said no man could escape his law. But what happens when the man is the law? The streets of Benin in 1986 whispered one name in fear, Anini, a name that turned even policemen into trembling shadows. Mothers locked their doors at sunset, traders closed shops early, bus drivers refused to work certain routes. Because when the law struck, no one was safe, not even the law itself. Lawrence Anini wasn't born a killer. He was born into poverty, a young boy from Benin City who learned early that survival in Nigeria's harsh streets required wit, not books. He worked as a driver, carrying goods and passengers across the bustling city. But under that calm face was a mind that refused to be poor. Soon he met Monday Osunbor, a fellow driver, and together they began what seemed like small-time hustles, car theft, petty robberies, and currency smuggling. But as their confidence grew, so did their ambition. By the early 1980s, Anini had built one of the most feared robbery gangs in Nigeria's history. These weren't ordinary thieves. They operated with military precision, striking at night, vanishing before dawn. They robbed banks, police vans, and entire convoys on the Benin-Asaba road. They even hijacked government funds, leaving police humiliated and powerless. But what shocked Nigerians most was the truth that came after. Anini wasn't just outsmarting the police. He was working with them. It turned out some officers in the Nigerian police force, the very men sent to protect the people, were on his payroll. He had moles in the force, feeding him information, helping him escape, even supplying him weapons. Newspapers began screaming headlines like, "Anini strikes again," or "The law eludes the law." Fear turned into anger, and anger into disbelief. It got so bad that one day, during a meeting, General Ibrahim Babangida, Nigeria's military ruler, turned to the Inspector General of Police and asked, "My friend, where is Anini?" The question sent shivers through the ranks, because if the head of state had to ask, it meant the entire system had failed. Soon after, a special task force was formed, led by Superintendent Kayode Wanarero. For months, they tracked Anini's every move, tracing his network, interrogating informants, and laying traps across Benin. Then came December 3, 1986, the day the law finally met the law. A tip-off led the police to a small house in Benin. Wanarero and his men surrounded it. Inside, Anini sat calmly, unaware that his empire was collapsing outside his door. When the police stormed in, gunfire erupted. Bullets pierced the walls, glass shattered. Chaos. But when the smoke cleared, Anini was down. A bullet had shattered his leg. He was dragged out alive, bleeding and gasping, the once invincible king of crime, reduced to a broken man on the floor. When questioned, Anini exposed the names of senior police officers who had aided him, including Deputy Superintendent George Ayamo, one of the highest-ranking officers in the force. The revelations shook the nation to its core. Months later, Lawrence Anini was tried, convicted, and executed by firing squad. As he stood before death, he didn't beg. He didn't cry. He only asked for one thing: "Tell my mother I'm sorry." And with that, the sound of gunfire echoed through Benin, ending the reign of Nigeria's most feared criminal. But even today, some still whisper that Anini never truly died, that his ghost walks the dusty roads of Edo, watching the police, waiting for justice that still feels incomplete. Because when corruption and crime sleep in the same bed, it's hard to tell who the real criminal is. If this story gave you chills, Make sure to like, share, and subscribe because more untold African stories are coming your way.